Today we continue Malunkyaputta Sutta. In this sutta, there are two pakha, two sides. The first one is Kana pakha. The second one is Sukha pakha. Kana pakha means dark side, and Sukha pakha means bright sides. If we do not practice meditation, we do not understand the true nature. We do not understand nama rupa, their nature, dukkha, anatta nature. We do not understand. So we are totally in the dark. Another side is bright side, Sukha pakha. If we practice meditation, we can realize the true nature, the nama rupa and the nature, dukkha, anatta. So if we do not practice meditation, we are looking for the pleasant, we are looking for the beauty. And when we see a visible object, we find it's pleasurable and we become heedless. We find that beauty and we are getting attached to it and we grasp it firmly in our mind. Some people do not practice meditation and they do not understand the nature of Dhamma. So some people keep that kinds of episode for many years. They keep and they grasp that episode very firmly. And also during the practice of meditation, some episode may reappear in our minds. So we have tool to remove the kinds of episode. That is meditation. And feeling arising from that visible object, feeling arising from that seeing, they are increased. Feeling, the feeling multiplying. Due to the objects, some are pleasurable objects, some are unpleasurable objects. So sukha vedana, dukkha vedana, pleasant feeling and unpleasant feeling increase and multiply from that episode, from that seeing. And then greed develops and hatred grows. And so there comes whole mass of suffering. In this way, that kinds of unmindful person become a seeker of suffering. A seeker of suffering is far, far from the realms of nirvana, cessation of suffering. So, Mahasi Sierra aphorism, we have to recite again. Yesterday we recite, Page number 2. Number 6. Those who do not note and observe are far from Nibbana. Can you follow me? Seeing a visible object and finding it pleasurable, he becomes heedless. Enjoy it and getting attached to it, he grabs it firmly in his mind. Feelings arising from the seeing increase and multiplying. Greed develops and hatred grows, so does his suffering. In this way, he becomes a seeker of suffering. A seeker of suffering is far from the lands of Nibbana. So it is Kanapeka dark side, a mindful person who do not interested in meditation, looking for beauty all the time, so they forgot to practice meditation. So they are in the dark side, and now we go to the bright side, that is Sukha Bhikha. So yogis who having seen a visible object is mindful immediately after seeing. So that yogi is not attached to that objects, that thing seen. Because if you know seeing, you capture the phenomena, visible objects, or retina, or seeing consciousness, capture thoroughly, it disappears. So you are not attached to that visible object, whether pleasurable or unpleasurable. So you are in the bright side. It is the opposite of the dark side, because you serious meditators. So after having seen a visible object, and you mindful immediately afterwards. As soon as seeing, you know, you have to note seeing. So you mindful immediately. So such a person is not attached to things seen. You apply mindfulness and immediately, and so you are not attached to that visible objects which are seen. And you are seeing visible objects, but you are not attached to these things. So Buddha said, Naso rijati rupesu rupandeswa patisato virata chaito vedeti tinja nidosa titati. The mindful person, mindful yogi, in the bright side. So we have to recite Masi Sara aphorism. Number 7, those yogis who note and observe are close to Nibbana. If you note and observe when seeing visible objects, you become free from lust and craving, because you capture the true phenomena. Can you follow me? Number one, if you note and observe, when seeing a visible object, you become free from lust and craving. If you note and observe, when seeing a visible object, you become free from lust and craving. So seeing is very, very fast. So you must be very skillful. Most of the yogi very skillful in hearing. They know the hearing is very familiar and they become skillful, but seeing is very, very difficult. As soon as we see, sometimes we forgot to note. Even in the retreats, sometimes we forgot. So if we not train very well, we will be in the dark side. We cannot see the true nature. So in the intensive retreat, it is important to capture the reality. You can capture the seeing consciousness or your retina or visible object or some feeling or some contact. So anyone you can capture, Jaku or Rupa, Jaku Vinyana or Phasa or Vedana. That means Jaku is eye sensitivity, retina. Rupa is visible object. Jaku Vinyana, seeing consciousness. Phasa, eye contact, and Vedana, feeling. So anyone you can capture. Some may capture the seeing consciousness, some may capture the visible object. So if you note and observe when seeing an object, visible objects, you become free from lust and craving because you capture the reality. So what happened to next? Number two, can you follow me? Without enjoying and clinging to it, you do not grasp it in your mind. Without enjoying and clinging to it, you do not grasp it in your mind.
Do not grasp it in your mind.
Without enjoying and clinging to it,
Enjoying and clinging to it.
you do not grasp it in your mind.
Do not grasp it in your mind.
So you experience them with your mind unattached because it's totally despair. If despair, your mind do not attach. You experience them through phenomena with your mind unattached and dwells not swallowing them. You do not swallow because it's despair. Although you are not attached to these things, yet you experience them, but with your mind unattached. Although you are not attached, you can experience these things. Since you are unattached, you do not dwell swallowing them. You do not swallow. Because what you see is true nature, they disappear. So you don't want to swallow. You do not swallowing them, and you do not take them to your heart. If we do not understand the reality, we swallow again and again. We keep them, we swallow them, we keep them in our heart. So you do not store these things in your mind. Because the more you know, the more they disappear. It is true. And then what happened to next? Number 3, at the moment of noting, although you experience feeling, you just see without clinging. So can you follow me? Number 3, at the moment of noting, although you experience feelings, you just see without clinging. At the moment of noting, although you experience feelings, you just see without clinging. So to the kinds of yogi who practice meditation diligently, who observe visible objects and experience feelings, are there any defilements? No. Defilements disappear. No attachment, no hatred, no depression, totally kilesa disappear, and kilesa, raga, dosa, moha, desire, attachment, jealousy, depression do not increase. So to the kinds of yogi who observe visible objects and experience feelings, that means for yogis who is practicing continuously, mental defilements disappear, attachment disappear. Disappear means mental defilements does not arise. Anger disappear, anger does not arise. Delusion disappear, delusion does not arise. Jealousy disappear, jealousy do not arise. Depression does not arise. All defilements disappear at that moment because you note very immediately. So kilesa do not increase because yogi has mindfulness and yogi apply mindfulness. Check by mindfulness. Mental defilements cannot arise in your mind with regard to that particular object. Yes, of course, sometimes you are noting continuously, but sometimes you forget. You forgot, and then if you forgot, they will come back again. But now you are practicing continuously. So then what happened to next? Number 4, although you are seeing the rounds of suffering are being cut off. So can you follow me? Although you are seeing the rounds of suffering are being cut off. Although you are seeing the rounds of suffering are being cut off. So intensive retreat, you so fortunate, you so lucky to have a chance to practice continuously. So in this way, you are dwelling with mindfulness all the time. For that yogi who do not accumulate karma formation, suffering does not arise. So when you apply mindfulness, then you do not have attachment, you do not have hatred, delusion, jealousy, and depression with regard to these objects. Mental defilement disappear, they do not arise. When the mental defilement disappear, you do not accumulate any karma formation. When there are no karma formation, when there are no sankhara, there can be no results of these karma formation in the form of rebirth, aging, sickness, and death. Because there is no karma formation. If there is no karma formation, there can be no results. Results are very horrible: aging, sickness, physical suffering, mental suffering. All the suffering will arise if there is sankhara. So for the yogis who do not accumulate karma formation, suffering does not arise. Since there are no causes, there are no results. So where are you going to? You are going to Nibbana. You are getting closer and closer to Nibbana because you are noting, you are practicing meditation diligently, step by step, one note after another noting, you are going closer and closer to Nibbana. So that is Buddha encouragement. So number 6, number 5 and 6 we have to recite. Number 5, in this way the yogi should practice noting and observation. Can you follow me? In this way, yogi should practice noting and observation. In this way, the yogi should practice noting and observation. And you are getting closer to Nibbana by noting every seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and knowing. Or according to Malunkyaputta, by noting every seeing, hearing, reaching, and cognizing, suffering is being stopped and you are close to the lens of Nibbana. So Buddha is really encouraging for the yogis who are practicing diligently. So can you follow me? Number 6, by noting every seeing, by noting every seeing, suffering is being stopped and you are close to the land of Nibbana. You are close to the lands of Nibbana. So for such a yogi, Nibbana is said to be close, very close, at hand. Such a yogi is close to Nibbana. So yogi who applies mindfulness continuously, immediately after seeing something, he have to note. And then he note, seeing, etc. And that yogi is close to Nibbana. Yogi will become enlightened anytime. Yogi will become enlightened in a short time because you are in the bright side. It is the bright side of what is seen. So Next one is dark side. Dark side of what is heard, Sutta. Sometimes we forgot to note hearing. So if we do not hearing, so we will be in the dark side. So if we not mindful to not hearing, mindfulness is lost to that person who, having heard the sound, and he is looking for the beauty of the sounds, the beauty of the sounds. So he reflects upon the signs of beauty. And being of mind filled with attachment, and he enjoys the sound, he enjoys the voice, and he dwells swallowing the voice. So to such a person, diverse feeling dependent upon the audible object multiply. Abhija and domanassa, covetousness and aversion torment that person, torment the mind of that person. To that person who accumulate karma formation, suffering arises. For such a person, Nibbana is said to be far, far away because he was in the dark. So mindfulness is lost to that unmindful person who, having heard the sound, reflect upon the signs of beauty. After hearing the noise or sound, if the person do not apply mindfulness, then he will take the signs of beauty. That means the noise or the sounds is beautiful, the music is so sweet. So he is attached to the sounds. He like to store these noises or sounds. He like to possess these sounds. Now you see many people buy records and tapes and all these things. The voice of favorite singers they like. When people hear the voices of these person, they say it is good sound, it is beautiful music. Also, they want to hear it again and again because they like beauty. So that is because they have taken the signs of beauty. They have decided that is beauty. They decided that it is agreeable, pleasurable. They like it. So being of mind filled with attachment, he enjoy it and dwells following it. So for the for the unpleasurable sounds, undesirable sounds, their mind is filled with anger and they because they swallow the that unpleasurable sounds. So that person do not apply mindfulness when he hear the sounds. So when he become attached to the sounds or his mind is filled with attachment, he enjoys it and he enjoys the sounds, enjoying this voice, enjoying this noise again and again. So Buddha said, so sarata citta videti tinja ijo satitati. That unmindful person swallow that audible object. So he wants to possess it, and he tried to possess the sounds. Sometimes just a sentence or a voice can be the objects of intense attachment. For the disagreeable sounds, just a sentence or a voice of unpleasurable can be the objects of intense anger. If he is not mindful, and if he take the sounds or voice to be attractive or to be beautiful for the undesirable, the voice to be disagreeable or hateful. So some people swallow that objects for many years, do not despair. So today we go to the story of Nanda, because Nanda swallowed the sounds of his loved one. So Nanda is the Buddha's cousin. Exactly 1 year after his enlightenment, Buddha visited his native city, Kapilavatthu, actually at the invitation of his father, King Suddhodana. Buddha went to his native city with 20,000 Sangha. He traveled from Rajagha to Kapilavatthu. It is about 60 leagues in distance. 1 league is about 8 miles, so it may be 480 miles, nearly about 500. Buddha went there. So Buddha traveled 1 league a day, and so he made the journey in 60 days. So on the full moon day of May, Buddha reached his native city. Buddha and Sangha were greeted by his relatives and other people, and he stayed at the monastery called Nijodarama, Banyan Tree Monastery. Although Buddha was greeted by his relatives and by his father, King Suddhodana, and so on, nobody invited Buddha for meals for the next day, because maybe it was not a custom at that time. So the next day, Buddha went out for alms, taking his begging bowl, because monks, their duty is to take the bowl and go alms round. So Buddha went out for alms, taking his begging bowl. And when King Suddhodana saw Buddha going for alms round in the city, he was distressed and he was ashamed. Why Buddha went like this? So King Suddhodana went to the Buddha and told him not to make them shameful by going begging. Then Buddha said, I was following my lineage. The father, King Suddhodana, said, no, our lineage is Sakya kings, is not begging. The father, King Suddhodana, said, and Buddha said, I'm talking about the lineage of Sakya king. I am not talking. I was talking about the lineage of former Buddhas. So all Buddhas and all his disciples go out for alms round every morning, and this is lineage Buddha was following, and he uttered a verse regarding this, and King Suratana, his father, became a Sotapanna after that verse. Then he took Buddha to the palace, and there Buddha uttered another verse, and at the end of the verse, King Suratana, his father, reached a second stage of enlightenment, Sakadagami. King Suratana reached the second stage of enlightenment, and Buddha's stepmother, Mahapajapati Gautami, became a Sotapanna. And King Suratana talked about Yasodhaya, or praised Yasodhaya behavior during the absence of Buddha. So Buddha related to Jaraka's story of Yasodhaya, and then he left. That was on the second day of Kapila Vetu. On the third day in Kapila Vetu, his native city, there was going to a ceremony of consecration, housewarming, a wedding ceremony of Prince Nanda. Prince Nanda was Buddha's cousin. Since Buddha had become a Buddha and cannot be a king, Prince Nanda was to be appointed a crown prince of the country. So Buddha went with his Sangha and took his meals. After his meals, Buddha gave his alms bowl to Prince Nanda, and then Buddha left. Prince Nanda was Buddha's younger cousin, and he had so much respect for the Buddha that he dare not tell the Buddha to take his bowl back. He dare not. So Prince Nanda followed the Buddha, hoping that Buddha would take his bowl back at the top of the staircase. Buddha did not take his bowl back. When Buddha did not take it there, Prince Nanda thought Buddha might take it at the foot of staircase and so on. Buddha did not take it back. So they went out to the courtyard. Then some maids saw Prince Nanda going after the Buddha. So they reported it to their bride. And the bride, Janabara Klyani, opened the window and looked at Nanda. And then she shouted to Nanda, Tuvatangko Ayabuddha Agichayasi. Hey Nanda, my lord, come back immediately. So Janabara Klyani, the bride, shouted to Nanda. So Buddha went, and Nanda, Prince Nanda followed, and they reached the monastery. Then they reached the monastery, and Buddha asked Nanda, Nanda, do you want to ordain? So this is a very tough question for Nanda. Prince Nanda was about to be married to the most beautiful woman in the country. And here is Buddha, his elder brother. His elder brother, Buddha, was asking him whether he want to ordain. But Prince Nanda has so much respect for the Buddha that he dare not say, I don't want to ordain. He dare not. So Prince Nanda said, yes, I want to ordain, he said to Buddha. So Buddha let the monks ordain Nanda, and now Nanda became a monk. Actually, he didn't want to ordain. It is against his will to become a monk. So after staying for some time his native city, Buddha went back to the city of Rajagaha and then to the city of Savatthi to accept the Jetavana monastery there. So when Buddha went there, and monk Nanda followed Buddha. Now Buddha, monk Nanda and other Sangha stay at the Jetavana monastery in Savatthi. Now the monk Nanda was not happy with the life of a monk. Because the images and sounds reappeared in his mind. The bride Janabhragliani opened the window and shouted to him, "O Nanda, come back immediately." So that sounds reappear again and again in his mind. So monk Nanda was not very happy with the monk life. So he expressed his feeling freely to other monks. He said, I am not satisfied with the life of a monk. I am not delighted. I will go back to lay life, he said to other monks. Then the monks reported it to the Buddha, and the Buddha called and asked him whether it was true or not. And monk Nanda said, yes, it was true. Then Buddha asked, why do you want to go back to lay life? Then monk Nanda said, Bande, when I was taking the bowl and walking after you, my bride Janabhragliani said to me, oh my Lord, come back immediately. Those words pierced my heart, and those voices were lodged in my heart. So I want to go back to lay life, he said to Buddha. Yes, true. At that moment, Janabhragliani told to him, he not mindful. He grabs the voice of Janabhragliani. He grabs the images, shouting at the window to him. So that kinds of voices and images reappear his mind again and again. So that kinds of images and voices He could not take it out. He was thinking of that voice again and again. So Buddha have to do something. Buddha taking his arm, taking the arm of monk Nanda, and by his magic power, Buddha took him to Tavodesa heaven. So on the way, Buddha let him see a she monkey, very ugly. She monkey, her nose, ears and tail cut off, sitting on the stem of a tree in the forest. Buddha showed the she monkey to Nanda. And when they reached the abode of kings of gods, when they reached the Tavodesa celestial realms, Nanda saw Devis, beautiful Devis, celestial names attending on the kings of God. So celestial names, celestial Devis are very beautiful. So Nanda was very delighted when he saw the celestial names. So Buddha saw this and Buddha asked Nanda, Nanda, how does your bride, Chandabra Klayani, compare with these celestial names? Then Nanda said, Pandey, compared with these celestial names, compare with these beautiful celestial names, my bride is like the she monkey we saw on our way here. That's very true. We celestial beings are very beautiful, and the most beautiful woman cannot be compared with the celestial nymphs. They are very, very beautiful. So compare with the celestial nymphs, the most beautiful ladies in the country, Chandabara Klyani, is like the she monkey. Chandabara Klyani means beauty queen. She was very, very beautiful, but compared with the celestial names, she was like she monkey. So Buddha said, Nanda, if you practice Dhamma in my dispensation, I promise you, I guarantee you that you will get these celestial names. Then Nanda said, if I can get these celestial names, I will practice Dhamma in your dispensation. Nanda said to Buddha. And Buddha and Nanda came down to the human world, and after some time, many monks knew about that. When they knew about this, they make fun of Nanda, telling him, here is Nanda, who practiced Dhamma, who practiced meditation in the dispensation, because he wanted to get celestial names. So Nanda is like a wish earner. He did the job because he wanted something. So many monks joked about it here and there. So Bhikkhu Nanda became ashamed. When he became ashamed, he decided to practice meditation diligently. First his mind was on his bride, Chandamara Klyani, but Buddha tactfully, skillfully removed that attachment to his bride. by showing him beautiful celestial names. Now the minds of Nanda was on celestial names, and then the monks, other monks made joke of him. So he no longer had maybe desire for these celestial names, and he went to the secluded place and practiced meditation diligently. And then he reached the highest stage of enlightenment. Finally, he became an Arahant. So when Nanda became an Arahant, he went to the Buddha during the night to report it to him. And then he said, Bande, you guarantee me that I will get celestial names if I stay in your disposition. Now I release you from this promise. I release you from this guarantee. Then Buddha said, Nanda, I already know this. The moment your mind became free from asava, free from taints, free from kilesa, your mind became free from mental defilements, I assume that the guarantee is already released. Buddha said to Nanda. But other monks, other Sangha did not know about that. And one day the monks asked Nanda, Nanda, how are you now? Are you delighted or are you not delighted with the life of a monk? Other Sangha, other monks asked Nanda. Then Nanda said, brothers, I have no desire to go back to lay life again. So when other monks heard it, they did not believe him. They thought he was lying because it is the same as saying, I have become an Arahant. Because they did not know that he had become an Arahant. So other monks reported it to the Buddha, and they said to Buddha, Bande, Nanda is telling lies. The other day, we asked him and he said he was not happy with the life of a monk. Now he said he had no desire to go back to lay life. So he was declaring himself to be an Arahant. Other monks reported to Buddha. Then Buddha said, what Nanda said was true. Formerly, his mind was like a house with roof made badly. So lust, attachment can penetrate his mind, but now his mind is like a house with well-made roofs, and no mental defilements and no lust can enter his mind. So now Nanda is free from taints, free from mental defilements, and he has become an Arahant, Buddha said. So regarding this, Buddha said this verse, Yata agaran dochandan voti samati vejati evam abhavitan chitan rago samati vejati. Evam agaran suchanan voti nasamati vejati evam subhavitan chitan rago nasamati vejati. That means just as rain penetrates and badly roof house, so also lust penetrate an undeveloped mind. Just as rain does not penetrate a well-roofed house, so also lust cannot penetrate a well-developed mind. It is from the Mahabharata commentary. So when the roof is not well made, rain can penetrate at the house. In the same way, when your mind is not developed, that means when you do not practice meditation, then lust or desire or attachment can penetrate your mind. Here Buddha said just lust or desire and no other mental defilements because they are not relevant here. But when your mind is really developed, not only lust, but also hate, anger, delusion, depression, jealousy, and other mental defilements cannot penetrate, cannot enter your mind. So it is important that yogi make the roof good so that there is no leaking, and also yogi should develop your minds, yogi should practice meditation so that mental defilements cannot penetrate your mind, or at least they do not overwhelm you. So to develop our mind, we need to practice mindfulness meditation according to Malunkyaputta instruction. We have to note seeing, hearing, reaching, that means smelling, tasting, and touching, and recognizing, cognizing, whenever we see, hear, smell, etc. So mindfulness meditation is always the key for our mental development. So it is said that Buddha taught Nanda the subjects of mindfulness regarding the body. That means taking the names of different parts of the body, hair, nail, etc., and try to see them as loathsome or filthy, and so on. But since every enlightenment must be preceded by vipassana meditation, we must understand that Venerable Nanda practiced vipassana as well. So in the Dhammavada commentary, it is not mentioned that Buddha taught him the mindfulness of body meditation, kaya nupassana. It is just said that the Nanda practiced meditation and he became an arahant. Now yogi are trying to develop your minds continuously. You are trying to make your minds free from mental defilements by practicing mindfulness meditation. So long as you are practicing continuously, mental defilements get no chance to penetrate your mind or to get into your streams of mind. So if yogi do not want suffer anymore, yogi need to keep your mind safe from mental defilements, just as we need to make the roof good or make the roof safe from rainwater. By practicing vipassana meditation diligently in the intensive retreat like this, yogis are making your mind safe from mental defilements. The safer you can make your mind, the mental defilements, the better you will be closer to the Dhamma path, Megaphala and Nibbana. So we will continue next time. We have to stop our discourse for today by practicing vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future. So.